our favorite scariest moments of Star Wars. And this can be in the movies, this can be in the animated series, the comics. We kind of pull from all over, and we just thought this would be a kind of a fun way to wrap up the show. Well, because you know what? Some people like to be scared. I personally don't. I mentioned earlier that I watched a horror story thing on Netflix with my wife. I had to hold her hand the entire time because I am chicken shit. And I'm allowed to say that on the show because Pete has already said shit once. Now it's 3 times. Now we have a PG-13 rating.
Now, Arzu, you have to say it in your response.
Yeah. You have to find a way to fit it in.
Okay.
Oh, well, you just wasted it. Okay, that's fine. I need earlier. I don't know if you saw
it again. It's fine.
I was looking for the swear jar. I was trying to find. I really try and keep it PG around here. You never know who's watching. But hey, let's go ahead and start. And I think let's see, Arzu. I went to you first last time. So Pete, talk to me. What is your scariest Star Wars moment? How did you decide? What is your scariest Star Wars moment?
So I tried to think about when you threw the question to us before we got on. I tried to think about it. So what is a scare? I only thought movies because comics are I don't keep up as much with them as I'd like. So I'm sure the Kevin Scott stories are awesome. The comic books that he did. But so I went to jump scares, and there are 2 jump scares in the Star Wars saga that I always think of. One, of course, is Leia and the Minox, which I still jump on. I'm still never ready for it. And of course, the Rathtars in The Force Awakens when Rey's asking about what are they, and bam, one shows up. So it's very that to me, that's the scary Star Wars, and that feels more jump scary, and those are the scares that I like.
Did you notice how I tried to do the jump with the Minoc? Did you see how
that was good?
Did that scare you at all?
I was a little scared. Yeah.
I mean, did it alarm you? I mean, you don't have to lie. I mean, just generally say it did scare you.
No, it didn't scare me.
It didn't. Okay, not at all. Okay, all right. Well, I tried.
Appreciate
I'm not very good at scaring people. I'm like the least intimidating person that you'll ever meet. Well, I think that's a great one. I think it's a classic one, and I think Empire provides a lot of those moments. It is the darkest chapter of the original trilogy, and I think that, frankly, no matter how hard George tries or a Ryan Johnson or J.J. Abrams, I would still argue that overall, Empire Strikes Back is still the scariest of the Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
Bold take? Disagree there, Pete?
Well, no, I think you had the cave on Dagobah. You had R2 being eaten by the dragon snake thing in the swamp. You had some pretty scary. Geez, when I was 10 years old, I saw my hero's hand get chopped off by the big bad guy. So that's kind of scary too. So
and that had to be terrifying because it wasn't in HD, so it was all pixelated and stuff. And it just had to look like
it was in black and white. Actually, I saw that part.
See, I thought about saying that at first, but I didn't want to be a jerk. No, God, that's such a good one. I'm gonna be honest. The Rathtars, I felt was like way more comedic. You know, I'm not trying to tear you apart. I just always thought the Rathtars were more comedic.
Well, but I was talking more about like when it hits the window. Then she's asking what it is, and you see the tentacle thing jump right up.
Ew, that sound was disgusting in my ear. It was like warm and moist. Oh, I gotta take off my headset and clean it out. That was disgusting. I cannot believe that. Oh God, that's worse than some of the sounds I made today. We don't need to get into that. Hey, Arzu, I want to talk about your scariest moment. Hopefully, it's not what just happened on the show.
Conversation is my scariest moment,
right? Because your moment is, I'm really excited about it. It's kind of taking us out of the movies. Talk about your scary moment.
So my scary moment comes from Heir to the Jedi. It's a book. Surprise, surprise. So it's the rare canon book that actually focuses on Luke Skywalker. And at one point, he goes on a mission to a planet called Fex. And there are these bugs called the skull borers that are invisible to the naked eye. Oh, God. Okay. See, that scared me. That was a jump scare. So they're, I'm sorry, I wasn't expecting that. They're invisible to the naked eye until you knock them unconscious. Then you can see them. But you don't usually get the chance to go that far because they will land on your head, drill through your helmet and through your skull, and drink your brain out. So if this was in a movie, I probably wouldn't watch the movie again. Or at least not that scene. I was just fast. I can't with body horror. And the book is so descriptive in describing like the dead eyes people have after their brains have been like sucked out that I was just sitting there with like bile rising in my throat going, we just need to get through this because this book is really funny. But
You guys are both really grossing me out tonight. I'm not gonna lie. You guys are very descriptive with your adverbs. I thought you'd be proud of me. I also have the hair of the Jedi.
Yay!
Look at
I will
It's
tell you,
so
this is
good. It's so good.
really because this is my least favorite canon story.
I love it.
What?
Yeah, well, it's told from the perspective of Luke, and it just doesn't work with me. This actually was not supposed to be canon. This was written before the merger. So this was like the
Oh.
last. Technically, this is an EU novel that they went ahead and be like, screw it, we'll bring it in. And there's a couple of inconsistencies with it. If I ever honestly, if I had to start a fire,
Oh,
No,
might happen.
it's so cute. It's Luke being an awkward Jedi and an awkward boyfriend. It's awesome.
Well, let me tell you, I spent most of my life as an awkward man, and honestly, it just
Does
hit
it
too close
not
to
help you
home.
feel better that Luke Skywalker too is an awkward man?
No,
Does
because
that not help?
it got so bad for Luke, he had to go to Octu and isolate for 5 years, which I'm
Yeah,
also
that's different.
oddly relating to as of late. I will say this: this is my favorite canon story. This is Lords of the Sith. I just grabbed that by accident, so I thought I would flaunt that. But that's a lot better of a read. Okay, so also I need to make sure
Stop it!
I'm gonna be. It looks like a tongue. It looks like a green tongue thing.
But
This
eyes.
This is from Clone Wars. This is actually like I want to say this was off of Geonosis, but these are like brain washing worms. These are the brain worms from Clone Wars that would infect clone troopers. The Geonosian brain worms. This episode was really intense, and I think it was 2 episodes. I think it was an arc. But yeah, it spooked me. So this was probably the best image that I could use for Arzu's scariest, spooky Star Wars moment. For myself, this is not going to be a scary. Don't worry, guys. I'm not trying to scare you with this one. But for me, this would have been 2010 or 11 when this season would have dropped. This is my scariest Star Wars moment. You can disagree with me. But finding out that Darth Maul was back from the dead and he was like this mechanical spider thing, it really messed with me because this was one of those moments where, as a Star Wars fan, I really was going, wow, they're really effing this up. They're really trying to rewrite the story that George wrote. And it frustrated me. And keep in mind, the decision to bring Maul back in Clone Wars was pivotal in the Clone Wars success with fans, I think, because the first 2 seasons were kind of slow goings. You got to see some cool space battles. There were like things here and there were really spectacular, but Filoni and crew really found their groove with season 3. You bring in Maul. Eventually you get Savage Opress. You get the Night Sisters. You get Mother Talzin. You really get to explore like this magical, mystic side of the galaxy. Mm-hmm. And it really expanded what I allowed Star Wars to be. And, because we all have headcanon, but the idea that somehow Maul could come back went from trash storyline to maybe the best decision they could have made with that series because of how pivotal Maul plays in Rebels and other stories.
Yeah, I always think about, I was not watching Clone Wars at that time for whatever reason. And I remember reading that Maul was coming back, and like you, I was like, what? They've given up. And thank goodness they did, because holy cow, Maul is now probably one of my top 5 favorite Star Wars characters, and it's because of the work that they did in the Clone Wars to make him such a sympathetic, sad, evil character. So great. He's so great.
Well, and a lot of the credit there too goes to Sam Witwer's performance, who voices Maul in Clone Wars and in Rebels. Mm-hmm. I just, we always say that, well, if well, can you have this character come back in this movie? Like, should Ahsoka be in The Mandalorian season 2? Well, if they do it right, well, what does that mean?
Right.
But when they're like, well, what if they brought Maul from the dead? Well, if they do it right, what does that look like? It looks like what we got in Clone Wars.
Thank you for watching Beyond the Blast Doors. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget, give us a thumbs up and leave a comment. Beyond the Blast Doors, a Star Wars conversation.